Yo, what is up? Today I'm basically making the rest of the pay-per-views, doing five main fights, and then I'll throw in some prelims for fun, and then at the end I do have a couple or like three fight night main events that I would make in the by the end of the year. So I feel like this one, like some of these, I'm not gonna take credit for because they are pretty obvious. Like I feel like this one, pretty obvious. We're getting Van Pantoja in Los Angeles at the crypto. And here I will go to this. I do have this as the co-main. I don't know if they would put this as the main event. And I also am not a fan of this fight. I I think this could be an argument or whatever. Oliveira has the BMF belt. I think Diego Lopez should get that shot. I mean, like he is a BMF worthy fighter. He said he wants to move to lightweight. Okay, Oliveira, you win that? Sure, we'll give you a title shot. Or if you want to just, or if you don't get a title shot off Diego Lopez, you could drop the BMF belt. Your last performance was not BMF. You were, I am a little biased because I'm a Holloway fan. I'm not taking away anything from Oliveira though. That was still a really impressive performance. Some holding Holloway down, who doesn't really get held down like that. Um, it's still impressive, but it wasn't in BMF. I think drop the BMF, fight Armin. You win, you get a title shot. Because Armin's not a BMF type fighter either. This is just a good co-main, rematch. It will be 5 rounds if he holds the BMF, which will be I think it will benefit Oliveira. He's more experienced in that 5 rounds. Um, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan. And you could flip flop these two if you really don't want to have flyweights main event. But I would like to see this be the main event. I don't remember. I think the last. Correct me if I'm wrong. The last flyweight title fight was Pantoja Urseg after 300. Could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I think they were all co-mains after that. But yeah, getting into my feature fight, I have Amasov versus Buckley. Amasov, I think, deserves this. He beat Neil Magny in his debut. Then he beats Joel Alvarez. Two solid wins. Buckley, he's coming off a few losses. You know, Buckley does not have a good reason to say yes to this fight. He just lost to Sean Brady and Usman. He probably wants a striker. And he probably will lose this too. I think Almazov is. I think he's a future title challenger. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I do think he is that good. And Buckley, I don't. I feel like you get the only opportunity for this is you get to shut down a really hyped up. I'm not gonna say prospect, but up and coming. I don't know. I guess it is prospect. I don't know what you technically consider Amasov, but I just still think this is an interesting fight. Um, but yeah, I'll get into the next one. While I was, making this, I was scrolling on Twitter, saw this, and I did put it on the next card in or no, I think I put it on the last card in Vegas, but I was like, wait, T City's from LA, I'm pretty sure. You should probably put it there, and then it came out. I'm pretty sure this fight's confirmed, which it is. They fought once. I forgot to put the two. They fought back at featherweight. I think Ortega submitted him. So it'll be interesting to see, later on in the careers how it looks. I really like Ortega. Like he beat Yair. I might have been. Was that 2 years ago or I think it was. He beat Yair, submitted him when he hurt his foot, like pre-fight because he was jumping up and down. He rolled his ankle. Um, That was his last win, and then he lost versus Lopez and Aljo. But I don't think Ortega is like I don't think he's trending upwards. I'd say in his career, while Marcano is always like kind of in the middle, lose one win. Like BSD is a good win. Chris Duncan is a good win. But then he loses like he lost to Benil Dariush, I'm pretty sure. And then he loses to Islam on the short notice. So I was kind of just got a paycheck for that. Neither of these dudes are really touching the title again, but it's an interesting fight. Too. It might be fun on the ground, or they both want to be on the ground, so it ends up being a striking battle. I'd probably lean Moicano a little bit just because of the points they are at their career. Um, but there is a world where Ortega wins this. And then I got my card opener. I got um, Barcelos and McGee, both right there in like they're in similar places in the rankings. Um, Barcelos, he has a win over Payton Talbot. That's a really good win. McGee, he loses to Jan. He doesn't get finished though, um, which is it's a good sign. Like at least you can somewhat hang in there, and they kind of got dominated. It it's like okay, whoever wins this fight, we're jumping you up to the top 10 opponent, potentially getting you like um, I don't even know. Maybe we'll give you Eamon Zahavi coming off a loss, something like that. And then the loser, you might get an Ethan Ewing in the future. I'm heading to the prelims here. So I did put this fight, and then it got announced Dan Ige is fighting David Martinez. So I'm gonna skip past this one. I don't like Dan Ige. Yeah, he's coming off two losses, if I'm not mistaken. Why is he getting a ranked opponent in bantamweight? Like, is this still the favor because he fought Diego Lopez and lost on short notice? Like, I matchmake David Martinez and Payton Talbot for I think a different. I forgot what exact card, but I matchmake them because I think that's a super fun and competitive fight. Like, I think it makes sense too. But now you get David Martinez as Dan Ige. It's like, bro, like Dan Ige is literally not even. He's from featherweight coming down. I don't know. I just don't see them. Just ignore this. All right, next I got Jamal Hill versus Ante Delija. I don't even know if like Hill would be ready by this time because he's so fat, bro. I'll put up on the screen the last video he made, bro. I was just like cringy. He's like, oh, how to defend this because I'm fat now. I don't know. It's so dumb, bro. I actually Jamal Hill pissing me off, bro. Like, but this is a winnable fight for him because you don't want to feed him to somebody. He still has some name value. He's still a former champ, bro. Give him a winnable fight. Give him one win so he's not just on a big losing streak, and then you feed him to Gable Stevenson, feed him to Mario Pinto, something like that. Like, just don't get him to a killer right away, bro. There's not even that many killers in heavyweight, but it's just give him a winnable matchup. I think this is winnable for him. I don't know. Then I got Nicholas Dalby. Pretty sure I don't know if his name is actually Nicholas. Nah, I think it is. And then versus Joel Alvarez. Joel Alvarez is on. Is he on a 2-fight win streak or losing streak? I think. Um, he, you lost to Amasop. That's not bad. He's going on to, ranked opponents in the future probably like his next fight. Um, Nicholas Dalby is a he had that war with Randy Brown. I remember, and they got slept. He's kind of just like a vet for like fun fights and stuff. I think this will be a fun fight, and Joel Alvarez is training with Islam. I think maybe that could improve his skill set a little more. He could show it off. I do think it's a winnable fight, and it's a fun fight too. But I'll move on to 332 in Abu Dhabi. I feel like this fight makes sense. Volk Evloev. Um, we've been kind of waiting while Volk been training with Rufi. I just seen that. It if they give the title fight to John Silva, bro, because he beat Arnold Allen, I'm gonna be pissed. Like, I look that has to be they have to be tied with Israel if John Silva gets the title shot. There's no way he gets the title shot. Um, but I do like John Silva fighting wise. But back to this, this fight makes sense. I think people like okay, yes, I'm going with Volk, but this is still a very competitive fight. I think Evloev makes it more competitive than the last Diego Lopez fight. Not the first one, but definitely the last one. It would be fun to see, how Volk does. He is getting older. Evloev, you know, he has the grappling. He stayed on his feet a lot the last fight. Not saying I don't think he should do that. I think he should, you know, I don't want to see it, but I think he should try to just keep Volk down and land some damage, stuff like that. But then on my co-main, I do have Jan Marab 3, which you can head. It also could headline. Um, it depends what you think. I think they will. Volk's name is bigger than both of these guys. Evloy is obviously the smallest name, but again, you could flip flop these two just like the last card. But you know, we need to see. I don't think Sean O'Malley gets the title shot off of Amos Zahavi. Like Marab had, I have Marab as the bantamweight goat. That was one of the best win streaks ever. Even though I don't even like Marab that much, I'm not a fan of his style. Um, but I think he deserves the rematch. That was a really impressive what he did. So, but I do think Jan gets the trilogy win. I just think Jan's performance that we saw last, it was really good. I don't really like the excuse. Oh, Marab, it was my fourth fight. I was training the day. Why are you full on sparring the morning of a title fight? What is the logic there? I don't know. It's just like excuses. I don't really like it. But it will be interesting to see if the back surgery affected Jan at all. I do think Jan gets this though. In my featured fight, yeah, Leon Edwards, he probably is gonna fight Mike Malott on that Edmondson card. If he doesn't though, I think this is a somewhat fair fight. I'm lying. Bonfim is gonna outclass him, Edwards. Like Edwards is probably gonna try to grapple, but if Bonfim just beat Bilal, who beat Leon somewhat recently, 2024, I just don't see how Edwards will he'll probably try to do what he did in practice, hold him against the cage, try to get a takedown. I don't know. I just think Bonfim will. I'm not as big as Bonfim as I am. Like I still think JDM's better. Prates Morales, Brady, um, Amasov. Like I don't know. I just think this fight doesn't make sense though, because Bonfim gets a win. Okay, he beat two former champs. You can make a big fight night main event or a big fight with him and maybe the loser of Ian Gary and Islam. Well, I don't really know. It's most likely Ian Gary. And I think Ian Gary would probably win that. Um, Let me not talk about Ian Gary. Yeah, actually. All right, but we'll get to the next fight. I got Kyle Burrell versus Joe Pyfer. This could potentially be the most boring fight, or someone would get finished. I would lean being the most boring fight, but it makes sense because like, I'm gonna get to Brendan Allen in the future. Or like in I think it's the next card if I'm not mistaken. But no, it's the last card in Vegas. But bro, like this fight also just screams Abu Dhabi. It's just like two random dudes here, not from Abu Dhabi at all, just fighting in Abu Dhabi. Um, I think Pfeiffer gets this done though. I'm not really the highest on Kyle Burrell. I don't really think he's that great at anything. He's the worst out of the other three. Well, other two fighting nerds now. And then, all right, you might disagree, but I think this it is a big jump up for Evo. Um, don't get me wrong, but bro, I just think like the light heavyweight division is so bad that they would do something like this, and I think it's actually a really fun fight. It's gonna be a scrap. It's a really big step up though for Evo. Like, this isn't um like you're probably not gonna finish him in the first round, but Mirzakhanov, who a lot of people thought, bro, this dude's next for the title. He's gonna beat Paulo Costa. How would Paulo Costa even win that? And now he got finished. Um, so I'd still slightly lean Mirzakhanov, but again, I wouldn't be shocked if Evo just goes out there and finishes him. Maybe in the first. Like, I don't know. It's interesting to see. And then the prelims, again, talking about another light heavyweight who you could very well swap with Evo. I got Billy Elikana versus Yakayev, which is a slight step up for him. Billy Elikana is on a 3-fight win streak, if I'm not mistaken. Yakayev is 3 first fights, 3 wins in the UFC. It's a fun fight. I got Jacob Malkoun versus Roman Kopylov. Malkoun actually looks pretty nice. Kopylov, yeah, he was really hyped up. Um, and now it's just he's really not he's really not that good. And then to the last prelim, I got see part of this is like some of these fights is like okay, I think it would be a good fight. Some of these I'm like the UFC would probably do this, and Imanol Rodriguez, who only has 1 win so far, and but bro, they're in love with tough. I don't know why it sucks. Nobody watches it. I, I think he didn't even win. I think he fought. Did he not fight on the contender series, or did he just get added to the roster? I don't know. All right, MSG. You want your heavyweights main eventing at MSG? Yeah, you just gotta pray it doesn't end like the first fight. Um, yeah, I I I still think Tom Aspinall gets it done. I just don't like. Yeah, okay, he was getting touched up in that first fight by the jab, but I still think he would have found a way. I just don't believe in Gon that much. Like, I do think it's a little closer to. I would say it's 50-50 now, though, because of the Pereira win. That's still a good win. Yay, back of the head. I do think there were a lot of fouls that should have been stopped. But even before that, he did hurt Pereira. Like, it was kind of just, like, sad to watch. Um, like nobody really. I mean, there were people that picked Gon, but nobody really expected it to play out like that. And then talking about someone coming off another really long layoff. Maybe he's gonna look the same. He's just gonna get jabbed and start bleeding, and this would be over a year now. He'd be out. But yeah, I still think Aspinall gets it done. I'm just too convinced he's like, like I think he's gonna run through mostly everybody at heavyweight. I don't think Gon just is gonna like turn around that fast and be that good. But we will move on to my co-main. Speaking of, this is like the White House card of the White House 2.0 card. I got Alex versus Hokit. You know, I've seen a lot of people not in favor of this fight, which I don't get why. I feel like they Hokit is talking a lot of shit. Pereira, I mean, he didn't really understand it, but I think he will if they translated at a press conference in New York. I think you need to make this fight. Pereira, if he stays at heavyweight, which I think said he is, it's just you can't mess up on something like this. It's a really big fight. A lot of the fans will be ready. Speaking of the White House, got Holloway roofie. I am a little scared for Holloway, being a Holloway fan. I just think he does outstrike him. I think the volume, very experienced on the feet. This is going to be pure stand up. Um, I think he will, you know, if he lasts the first round of, all them spinning wheel kicks, them crazy strikes. And, bro, think about it. This is literally Conor McGregor Holloway 3, bro. We're getting that fight this time. No, I'm kidding. But, I think Holloway still wins this, And again, you could swap these two if you want. It just depends. I think Pereira and Hoke together are bigger than Holloway and Rufy together. But this like this fight makes sense. Do not say Holloway, yeah, we'll give you McGregor when he comes back. Where you're wasting his, you know, he's still good, bro. Just because he had a bad uh performance against Oliveira, he he didn't like. Okay, yeah, he couldn't grapple. He wasn't outclassed on the feet. They barely struck people. I'm sorry, Oliveira has some of the worst fan bases, especially on Twitter and like TikTok and stuff. They have some of the worst fans. Then moving on to Aljo. I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, nah, Vallejos. I think he's getting. He, it will be a test because Aljo will probably mix in the wrestling. Vallejos is one decision win so far. He was won over Danny Silva, but he did get taken down. And I think Aljo will try to take it down because he knows that they're on the feet. But I think Vallejos will his main goal to will be to focus on that. So I think he'll try to stand up and find the finish. I think he will find the finish. I'd say like a round two finish. I think Bryce Mitchell and Talbot is a fun fight. It would get Talbot back to the rankings on the meta thing at least. And it is kind of a little scary for Talbot. Bryce Mitchell isn't. He's on the 2 fight win streak. I think he got a sub in his last fight. He actually looked pretty good at bantamweight. I think Talbot will pick him apart on the feet though. I just it his strike. He showed defending and taking down Triple C is like that's a pretty good sign. Like, so I think his striking will definitely be the main factor. And I think if he wins this, just give him Corey Sandhagen when he heals. Like, Corey Sandhagen's coming off 2 losses now. I think. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Um, so just make that fight if Talbot wins, which I think he will. But we'll move on to the prelims. Got Pinas versus Susakayev. Susakayev. Um, Pinas called him out on Twitter. Because I think Susakayev, goddamn it, said like he doesn't know who he is or something. Damien, I'm just gonna say, freaking Damien. He called him out on Twitter saying he's scared. He won't sign the contract. Blah blah blah. Bro, make him sign the contract. Force him to forward his signature. This is a good fight, and like, bro, I hate people like on Twitter. They're like, bro, don't kill. Why are they killing the prospects, bro? Because like middleweight literally has no prospects, bro. It that's not even a good point. My point is, it's a fun fight. Like, you want to see this, bro. Susur Kharov hasn't shown anything that he could be ranked in the future. Neither has Damien. Yeah, I'm just Damien. Neither has Damien. Let them fight now, and it will be exciting. But sure, if they get ranked, you can make a rematch in the future. They have history. I don't know. I just think this is a really fun fight, and I think they miss opportunity. And MSG it would be a great stage to have him on. And then moving to my next fight, another, MSG who can be on the main card over this. I feel like they would do that, but I got Mr. Hiccup Stevenson over here versus Mick Parkin, who was supposed to fight Mario Pinto in March, pulled out with an injury. I don't really know the injury, but if he is healthy by November when MSG usually happens, I think this is a fair fight. They're gonna want to push Stevenson. They don't want to. Maybe they will protect him, but I think he's shown in his first fight. Just like he's definitely built for the UFC. Um, and then I got Ethan Ewing. Again, assuming he's healed by then. Like you put out. We won't give you a ranked guy, but we'll give you someone still solid with Ricky Simone. Um, Again, I think Ethan Ewing wins this, but Ricky Simone, he isn't the word. He's like he's like a crafty vet. It will be interesting, but you know, I almost want to say it's like he might have a little more trouble than he would against Bastra. Like I think he would have dominated Bastra. Nah, I think Ewing will win this like 30-27 or by finish though. He looks really good so far. So I think he'll get it done. But yeah, I think this is probably the most stacked prelim, and I think it's deserved. MSG, you have to build a good card. Moving on to the last event of the year. So this is a questionable main event. Imavov is so like you don't want him being a main event, but Strickland said he would fight at the end of the year. Imavov said he's getting the next title shot. It makes sense. I think Sean Strickland is a big enough name to have him main event. And I think Sean Strickland wins this. Moving his name up a little higher on that. I'm not gonna say he's. I think he could be top 20 maybe. But he would have to get a win back versus DDP. I think to move his name up any higher. Moving on to my co-main though. This might be a little controversial. You might not want to see this, or maybe you just think Ankh should wait until Olberg gets healthy, which is like maybe like March, April, like a year off from when he got his injury. But I think USC is. They're gonna look at that performance versus Bogdan Guskov and be like, bro, we don't want him fighting for the title. So, look, let's give him Costa and just pray that Costa wins. Get him the interim belt. And you can call me crazy. I think Costa actually has a really good chance. That being said, does he deserve this? Well, just off the Mirzakhanov win? It's questionable. I'd say they gave it to him though. I think he looked really good. Just try to bank on him. And bro, imagine this dude as champ. I mean, he might not fight. I mean, it's he does put on some stinkers. Like the Strickland fight was a stinker, but I do think he would be very entertaining. He'd be on social media a lot. Even as an interim, and then him versus Olberg is a really fun fight. Moving on to the featured fight, I got Almabayev and Tyro. Two of besides Pantoja, the two best grapplers I think at flyweight. I think Almabayev is. Tyra will try to find the submissions more. Almabayev just kind of. I think he's better on the feet. Like Tyra, he's gonna find submissions. Ground and pound. He got that win against Moreno, even though it was a little early. It would be fun to see. I think Ambayev will crack Tyro at one point, pause with a big shot. But I think Tyro can take it to the ground, try to find a submission. I don't know. It would be interesting. And here's the thing. I have a fight later, a fight night main event you could swap this with, but we'll get into that later. Here's what I was talking about. Here is another boring fight. Look, Okay, you could probably saying why would Brendan Allen be fighting down? He just fought Shabazzy and whatever and won barely. He barely won. That was a close fight. I don't think he deserved a title shot. I don't think I wanted to put him against Fluffy, but Fluffy is fighting um he's fighting RoboCop. Maybe the winner of that gets Brendan Allen. I don't know, like later in the year. But I think, bro, Brendan Allen, if he wins this, does he actually get a title shot? I don't even know. And then Bo Nickel, he wins. He's like pretty much top five. He might get a number one contender main event again. Even though I'm still not highest on Bo Nickel. This is a jump. Like they might not even give him this. They might be trying to baby him because they try to jump him too fast with RDR. But like Brendan Allen has RDR and Bo Nickel on his little streak he's on. I think it's like Vittori, RDR, Shabaznian, and then Bo Nickel. I mean, bro, like you might have to just give him a title shot. Bro, middleweight is so ass though. And I don't even think Brendan Allen is that good. But I think Whitaker said he'd like to fight at the end of the year. This is a good. They're like neck and neck in ranking, I think, in the rankings. But Reyes had a split decision with Johnny Walker. Everyone was like, "Bro, this fight's not making it off the first round, bro. Like, no, one of these dudes are going to sleep." Yeah, no, was that that did not happen. Um, bro, but call me. I mean, it's not even crazy. Like, I just think Whitaker wins this. He looked really good. And, like, hopefully he doesn't get bullied again. That it literally, he's just got called fat. Um, like, oh my god, I hate Joe Rogan. But who doesn't? Yeah, I think Whitaker can get this done. I really like what I saw from him against Krylov, but I'm not sleeping on Reyes. I just think Whitaker's a little better, and I think he could get this done. But it'd be a fun fight to open the card. And for prelims, again, I was talking about Tough earlier. This I actually like this dude from Tough, Donchenko. He's a fun fighter. He had a price. I think it was against Nico Price. Um, in the Apex, if I'm not mistaken. I think he got the finish in his last fight. And Randy Brown is pretty exciting. Like he does get finished. Or he's like a win lose type of guy. But this would be a fun fight on the feet. And then yeah. Oh my god, I actually hate Twitter. Bro, if you're on Twitter and you're scrolling and you see John Garza, fight announcement, bro, don't open the comments, bro. There's some really weird people. I'm just gonna say that. But he did put up a competitive fight against a 15th ranked opponent, or like with Bashrat. Bro, don't give him like a scrub. Like I think he can win. Like Miles Johns, okay, yeah, he's not anything crazy, but he is he's a solid vet. Like I think this is winnable for Garza though, and I think he deserves a somewhat competitive fight. I don't think you should just give him a scrub. Like he showed he can compete, at least stay in with a ranked opponent. Miles Jean, get him in the win column. It'd be a good way to actually start his UFC career on a full camp and stuff. And then, God, I forgot to change this. Bahamut has just got announced. He's moving to 170. So I will give a different name. Okay, quick quick change because Bahamundes had to move to 170. Even though him versus Dober would be a banger. I got Grant Dawson versus Drew Dober. Bro, I'm actually a really big fan of Dober, and especially he talks about like gaming and stuff like that. He's actually a really nice guy. Um, but nah, Grant Dawson, he got a sub in his last fight. He's like he's always up and down. Like he lost to Bobby Green, he'll like win and then he'll lose to Manuel Torres, and then it's just like I don't really know. Like Grant Dawson is just like always gonna be right outside or like right at 15. I think the rest of his career. And then Drew Dober, bro. Okay, if he actually loses this he actually just might be racist on a lot, which sucks saying. It's actually really nice. Nah, I don't actually think that, but at least just don't give him another black dude, bro. Um, but beating Michael Johnson, who was on a little streak, that was really impressive. And I'm a really big fan of Drew Dober. He's not an easy win. Like he fought like some really good guys, but he's not an easy win at all against like someone like Grant Dawson. I think that's a really tricky fight. It's, I'd lean Dober, but Dawson is still solid. But it'd be a fun fight. Um, then I got some fight nights to make for the rest of the year. So this first one, I was talking earlier. You can swap this with the Tyra Amabayev fight, but bro, we're going to Japan, bro. We're doing a fight night in Japan. They haven't had one since 2017, bro. Just if bro, we've been all been waiting. Like we want to see it. Loney Kavanaugh Horiguchi is a great main event because I don't think Tyra fought in Ryzen. I don't know. I gotta look at his like regional career before, but obviously Horiguchi did. He beat no Cop and Horizon, and um he's had a career there. The fans will literally like love him. They'll probably be crying. And then Loney Kavanaugh, it's like that's a good matchup to make. They're both coming off losses. One of them can get back into the win column. Um, and then bro, you put Rinya Nakamura, Rei Suru, that Japanese, I think it's like Mizuki or something. You just load it. There's actually not that many Japanese, I think. You could throw like, a lot of Asian fighters on there. Maybe even try to. PFL is doing a mix. They're having Shia Dulov versus their PFL champion. I think it's like I forgot his name. It's like McGee or something. McKee. I don't know. They're having like a crossover. Bro, I don't think the guy in Ryzen likes the UFC at all. So I don't know if they would do that. But maybe you could have some kind of crossover. I don't know. But this would be a really fun main event. And Japan, okay, it's probably would be an Apex fight, which sucks. But I think Japan would be fun. And then, bro, you have to make this fight. Literally have to make this fight. It makes so much sense. And last year they went to Rio de Janeiro and around the same time the Oliveira versus Gamrot fight, but Carlos Prates is from Sao Paulo. Bro, like I need to see this fight. Like everybody wants to see this fight. Winner, this is a number one contender. Winner gets a title fight, and it's just this is a banger, bro. Like everybody would like. I'm just like I need this, bro. I need this fight. All right, next we got John Silva and Lerone Murphy in Tampa. It's a little random location, maybe. Oh, why not have Lerone in England or something? They go there only early. They go there in like March, really, mainly every year. Um, and they haven't been in Tampa since the end of 2024. And if I remember correctly, that crowd was actually really good. And bro, this main event is actually fire. Like 5 rounds of this would be really entertaining. Um, you probably have John Silva throwing some crazy stuff, but I'd lean Silva here. But Silva wins. Okay, you guaranteed a title shot. I think he literally like I don't know how you can deny him at that point. Lerone Murphy, it's like yeah, you actually probably could get a title shot. Maybe you can argue he needs one more since he's a one fight winning streak might not be enough to get him. But he was like undefeated before that, and he lost to Avoyev on a somewhat competitive fight. So, but yeah, this all the fights I think should be made for the rest of the year, and then I think some fight night main events they should make and with locations and stuff. Let me know if you disagree, agree, some other fights you want to see. If you like the matchups, don't like them. Yeah.